It's Tuesday, May 19th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. There is still no final agreement on a number of concerns expressed by teachers about the island's first online school term. Furthermore, one union said the reopening of some classrooms on June 15, as announced by the Ministry of Education over the weekend, was merely a proposal and has not been agreed to by teachers' representatives. President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, said when the unions and ministry officials met for further talks, no final policy decision was taken on those areas of concern put forward. Our Emmanuel Joseph has more in this report.
In a terse response to Barbados Today when asked what came out of Monday's meeting, Redmond said many recommendations from subcommittees that the minister will speak on when they have been finalized. Pressed further to elaborate, the BSTU head would only say recommendations only, not policy yet. Another source also said nothing concrete resulted from the meeting, which was a continuation of a May 14th consultation when 5 subcommittees met for the first time to discuss, among other things, the Barbados Secondary Schools Entrance Examination and the CXC operations that involve CSEC and CAPE 2020. That meeting, according to a release from the Barbados Union of Teachers, also discussed teaching time, both synchronous and asynchronous instruction, temporary teacher performance, and student assessment. The BUT statement had accused the ministry of grossly misinforming the public, a reference to pronouncements made by Minister of Education Santia Bradshaw at a press conference Saturday, at which he announced that the physical classroom will reopen on June the 15th. But the union is saying it was just a proposal and no firm agreement had been reached on the reopening of the classrooms.
Chauffet Restaurants Limited said it had to cut some of its staff following the shutdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But Managing Director Ryan Hallout said those layoffs are temporary, as he expected the majority of employees will be back on the job soon as a result of government's phased reopening. In an exclusive interview with Barbados Today, Hallout also revealed that the company, which employs almost 900 workers, provided over $250,000 in employee support through a combination of direct payments to staff who had exhausted their vacation time, as well as food hampers to all its management teams and line workers. The COVID-19 pandemic has dealt a blow to the island's poultry industry. General Manager of Chickmount Foods, Edward Albecker, said the industry was in full production when the national shutdown was implemented, which led to 5 weeks of lost sales. He also revealed that his company had to close one of its farms, resulting in layoffs.
We have taken serious unemployment. We at Chickmount Foods, we have laid off over 130 people. We have shut down an entire farm, Bright Hall, which is 6 large commercial pens in St. Lucie, and we desperately need to get this back into production. We have also had to cut back quite dramatically on our placements all around in order to facilitate this cutback. However, we've been here before as far as building stocks, nothing as significant as this, and with the proper pricing structure, with the proper advertising campaigns, and the benefit of the public will be that they will be able to buy cheaper chicken frozen in our depots and other outlets.
Meantime, former president of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Eddie Abed, said the ongoing wave of retrenchment, salary cuts, and reduced working hours being rolled out in the private sector are for the most part intended to ensure the survival of businesses, despite suggestions that workers are deliberately being exploited.
I don't think anybody is under the misconception that this is going to be an easy chore. I think most people are aware, as with your home economics, you have to balance what you're earning with what you're spending, and businesses are going to do the same. I've heard that some people are looking at cutting salaries. I've heard that some are looking at shortened work weeks, and that has to be all part of the bigger question that every business will look at for themselves. But the key to this equation is getting these businesses open, that they can start measuring the revenue they have, that they can start doing what is necessary to get some revenue back in. It's been now 7 weeks that businesses would have been closed. 7 weeks is 15% of your trading year. There's no way a business can survive by losing 15%. So it has to do certain things to make sure it survives. This is not about profitability, this is about survival.
Dozens of businesses reopened their doors yesterday as Phase 3 of the government's reopening of the economy went into effect. Among them, barbershops and salons, and owners are happy to be back at work. They tell Barbados Today adhering to some of the new protocols was challenging, but they are taking no chances.
Honestly, because this is my main source of income, not having the opportunity to earn for 7 to 8 weeks was challenging. But that being said, you understand the situation, I'm glad to be back out again. Having a high standard for sanitization and sterilization is very important for the industry, as it's necessary to give your best service and to make sure that your environment, generally speaking, is at its highest standard. The new conditions that we're being placed under are like anything else is new. For me, I've always been wearing gloves, haven't been wearing a mask, but now it's an absolute necessity. So I'm getting adjusting to how it is. It isn't most comfortable, but it is what it is. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
It's a big demand, but still some people are afraid to come into the salon, especially persons with more high risk. So for that, we making sure we clean down everything between clients. Only 2 clients allowed in the salon at any given time.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said the repatriation of Bahamians wishing to come home would resume this week. But he told the nation the system has been streamlined in order to avoid what happened during the last exercise when a passenger who had a COVID-19 positive result overseas was allowed to board a return flight home.
Subsequent testing by the Ministry of Health following the passenger's arrival has shown this individual is now COVID-19 negative. 2 repatriation exercises are scheduled for this coming week from Fort Lauderdale into New Providence. There will be a flight this Thursday, May 21st, and one on Saturday, May 23rd. A flight to Grand Bahama will be accommodated if necessary. Those who are seeking to return home through this repatriation exercise and who meet the required protocols, including a COVID-19 negative test, may book directly through Bahamas Air.
And finally, the World Health Organization chief has promised an independent review of the global pandemic response after countries called for a probe. Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus made the promise during a virtual meeting of the World Health Assembly.
We welcome the proposed resolution before this Assembly, which calls for a stepwise process of impartial, independent, and comprehensive evaluation. To be truly comprehensive, such an evaluation must encompass the entirety of the response by all actors in good faith. So, I will initiate an independent evaluation at the earliest appropriate moment to review experience gained and lessons learned, and to make recommendations to improve national and global pandemic preparedness and response.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.